Hi, it's Dana. Time for this week's question. Actually, this is a great one because a lot of people are in the same situation as Alice. They live in a one-bedroom, so they need to all share a room together. And so she's wondering how can she do this and still share a room. And it's totally doable. Lots of people are in the same position where there's no other option, and a child doesn't need his or her own room in order to sleep well. It's still possible even when you're sharing. Anyway, she writes, "My 7-month-old daughter is breastfeeding and she wakes up 4 times during the night. Sometimes she is eating and sometimes she just sucks a bit and falls back to sleep. She also falls asleep during feeding. How can I stop that? She also doesn't like to take a bottle and she sleeps in the same room as us." Okay, so first of all, it's okay that she doesn't take a bottle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make babies sleep better if they take bottles. You do need to look at, though, how she gets herself to sleep. It sounds like she definitely has a strong association between breastfeeding and sleep, which is never good because then she'll just think she needs to eat all through the night, mainly to get herself back to sleep. Okay, so like I always say, best place to start, bedtime. Okay, so make sure you have a nice routine set up before bed. You know, bath, teeth. Feeding her is fine. It definitely suggests that people feed babies before bed because you do want her to go the night without food. Just while you are nursing her, though, you've got to keep her awake. Don't even let her start to fall asleep at the breast. Okay, you really want to break the connection that breastfeeding has anything to do with sleeping. So as soon as you see heavy eyes, you know, that sort of look like she's starting to fall asleep, poke her, tickle her, talk to her, take her right off the breast, dance her around if you need to. Keep her awake through the feed. Okay? Now some babies get a little bit agitated that you're not letting them fall asleep, especially if that's the way they're used to falling asleep, and she might just refuse to keep eating. If you're going to keep waking her up, she'll just decide, all right, I'm done with this then. And that's okay too. If she doesn't eat as much as she normally does for a night or two, it's going to be okay. A 7-month-old, you know, as long as she's of good, healthy weight and no problems with her health, there's really no reason why she needs to be eating in the night anyway. So start at bedtime, make sure she stays awake on that breastfeed, and then goes into the crib awake. You can even check on her, you can stay, you can do a little bit of key phrases, it's sleepy time now, a bit of touching, you know, if it helps to pat her back a little bit or stroke her cheek. Touch is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with touching her as long as you don't actually lull her to sleep with your touch. You just want to be careful that when she learns this new skill of getting herself to sleep, that you're not involving yourself in any way. So you're there to be supportive, but really nothing else. She needs to learn how to fall asleep on her own. Okay? And then what you could do at first is keep a feed or two. If you don't think she's quite ready to go all night without a feed, you could keep 1 or 2, but make sure you don't nurse her back to sleep in the night either. Otherwise, she'll learn to put herself to sleep at bedtime, but then she'll think, oh yeah, every time I wake up in the night, my mom will just do it for me and I don't have to try. And usually I find then that they just wake up through the night more out of habit than anything else, want you to nurse them back to sleep, and this just kind of goes on and on and on. So if you do keep a feed, make sure she stays awake through the feed, just like bedtime. Poke her, tickle her, talk to her, do whatever you need to do to keep her with you through the feed. Don't let the feed linger, and if she's not interested, if she's just using you by sucking, don't let her. She's just using you basically as a pacifier. So if she's not interested in eating, then she goes right back to her crib. And that should really help get her the skills she needs to sleep well, and she should start sleeping right through the night. And it might mean you're all up a little more because you're helping her get herself back to sleep. You're encouraging it. Maybe it means you need to sleep out in the family room for a few nights until she gets the hang of it. But a few nights of being up a little more than you normally are, or for longer periods of time, at least you're moving in a direction of change. At least you're moving in the right direction. And it's all for a purpose of getting her to fall asleep on her own and learn how to do this. Otherwise, the pattern you're in right now, it could go on for another couple of months, maybe even another couple of years. So, it's definitely a change worth making, and being in the same room, she'll get used to you being in the same room. She already is used to you being in the same room. She'll get used to the noises that each of you make through the night and moving around. She should still be able to sleep right through that, though. Should be no problem. Okay, so thanks, Alice. Thanks for your question, and sleep well.